Today we're playing and talking about Splitgate 2, giving my honest impressions so far when it comes to the Splitgate 2 alpha. I recently did a video where I was talking about Splitgate 2, partly reacting to the trailer that came out recently. I thought it looked interesting, but I also noticed, as many of you have been doing, that the successor seemed to have taken a different approach and path compared to the original game in Splitgate 1. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? Well, the first game was a bit of a homage, if you will, to older arena shooters, thinking about Halo and Quake as an example, while Splitgate 2 feels more as if they're trying to appeal to a broader mass of players while adding 3 classes with different abilities. Not a hero shooter in its pure definition, but leaning towards it. After hours of playing, I can't really say though that the classes and their abilities makes a huge difference or that they would be game breaking. And maybe that's good, since it's been a topic of discussion and a concern among Splitgate veterans. But at the same time, these classes being there is at the expense of movement and the use of portals to a certain degree, in my opinion. The portals feel quite toned down in terms of importance in Splitgate 2 compared to the first game. So if I gotta be honest, I wouldn't mind having these classes reworked or removed completely, or give them abilities so they actually stand out instead. Not the common and generic wall hack feature or a shield that can be put down to block enemy fire or projectiles. At the end of the day, also most people will still choose to play as arrows due to his speed. I might be wrong, but that's a trend I've seen while playing hours into the Splitgate alpha. The design overall feels very e-sportish. Not sure what fans of Splitgate feels about that, and the maps I've been playing so far in the alpha are decent, but not great. I hope they decide to look into the map design further for the full release of the game. The performance though feels good so far already in the alpha, although I had a few moments when I experienced that I died even though I was behind cover or just past a corner. But overall the alpha plays well and the gun feels okay, although maybe not as distinct or as distinguished as in Splitgate 1. Also, in a fast-paced game like this, you gotta be aware that some animations, such as reloading the rockets that can be picked up as a power weapon on the map, is pretty slow, so you better time the reload right or you'll be dead most likely. And same goes for putting down the shield barrier. I guess this is more of a saying towards people or to people that might not be used to play games such as Halo and similar. Talking about Halo, well, the first Splitgate game was indeed inspired by the early Halo games, but with portals added. It wasn't unique, but it did put the game in a smaller niche, if you will, that sometimes can be beneficial if the game succeeds to keep player retention when it comes to updates such as new maps, weapons, weapon skins, and game modes added. With that said, even though I understand what the Splitgate 2 devs are trying to achieve here, it's also a risk putting yourself more in the mid lane, so to speak, a place that is already occupied or populated by so many other games. Especially since Splitgate 2, at least in its current state, reminds me more about games such as Overwatch or in Valorant compared to Halo meets Portal. As you know, there's also a risk when you decide to make such changes, since the few people that are still playing Splitgate 1 must be considered to be the core community of the game and series. Will they accept and enjoy this new take on Splitgate? Or will Splitgate 2 face the same destiny as Splitgate 1 did, meaning getting a boost initially after release, but after that not being able to keep the player retention? Let me hear your thoughts, and your feedback here is always interesting. As said earlier, this is my honest impressions when it comes to playing the Splitgate 2 alpha, and of course I don't want to sound too negative, but I'm afraid that the game will have a hard time to survive in the long run. The whole 4v4 objective-based gameplay with a slight hero shooter twist might be a turn-off for some, especially those that have been playing the first game. It also feels as if Splitgate 1 was a bit more chaotic and old school cool, if you will, and that was the reason, at least why I picked up and played Splitgate 1. Splitgate 2 obviously has a kind of another ambition, trying to maybe get into esports or at least working out the perfect or good balance between you and your teammates' abilities. Not a problem per se, but again, I've already played quite a few of those games, so I'm not sure what Splitgate 2 will become for me when the game comes out. A game that I get into maybe once in a while, or will it be a complete miss? Of course, I also have to say that I have had fun times playing. definitely since I've also have been doing well. I'm quite used to these kind of games from back in the days, and I would love to see Splitgate 2 doing well, because there are not many arena shooters, at least close to it, that are existing at the moment. I also mentioned Quake before, even though I haven't played as much Quake as I played Unreal Tournament when it comes to older arena shooters. However, as you might know, Quake Champions is still out there. You can play it. That is the newest Quake game so far. But people weren't too happy either when they added hero abilities into that game. Maybe it's hard to compare when it comes to Quake being such an old franchise. I mean, the games are old. They've been out there for a very long time, and Quake Champions was released in 2017. But maybe it gives us a hint when it comes to breaking up an original concept. And that's why I'm also talking, as I'm talking here, when it comes to what will become of Splitgate 2 after release. Is it good enough for people that have been playing the game before to actually continue to play Splitgate? Or will we see a kind of a change here where we get also newer, maybe younger players getting into Splitgate 2 and kind of broaden the player base, if you will? I hope that's the case, because the more the merrier. The more people that are playing, the better it is for the community overall. But nowadays, a lot of people aren't used to these kind of games, especially when it comes to the more competitive side of things, or a skill gap, if you will. Are people willing to take the time to actually learn the game and become somewhat good at it so it's fun to play? With that said, I don't know either what kind of skill-based matchmaking or matchmaking system overall we will see in Splitgate 2. So this is my main impression so far. I will continue to play as long as the alpha is up, checking it out. If they do something, maybe they change a bit, I don't know. But I would love to hear from you as well. That's why I often also bring up a lot of questions and thoughts with question marks, so you can also fill in when it comes to your thoughts and feedback. With that said, I'm not going to go longer. I think that's not necessary for now, since this is impressions and not like a full review. Let's hope for the best when it comes to Splitgate 2. Maybe there will be more tests coming later down the line. It's going to be interesting to see again what they do for the future of this game. And take care, my friends. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. It helps me out here on YouTube. And also subscribe if you're new, since I do play a variety of FPS games, both new and old. That's what's happening here on my channel. Take care now, have a beautiful day, and later.